The Pursuit, Chapter 8. Valhalla Awaits. Charlton and Victor were sitting on the couch as Eli, Cupid, alongside Christian and myself were gathering wood outside as the stars shone brightly in the night sky. Eli was smoking a blunt as Cupid hit from his dab pen. Christian was carrying pounds of wood, and I was just there, looking up further into the heavens. He's with us, isn't he? Right now, I mean, and not just his body. Cupid smiled, nodded, while Christian chuckled and Eli smoked. Yeah, Charles, he is. As a person who grew up under his protection, I've always felt him. But still, I miss his laugh. Cupid held Eli's hands as they both looked up into the night sky. Suddenly, there was a large asteroid that burned up in the atmosphere and had a sort of reaction with the air itself. Before we knew what we were seeing, it turned into a dark rainbow in the sky, with all the colors muted and almost dripping behind the meteor in the sky. Then it crashed just beyond the edge of the town. Boom! Air rushed towards us and almost blew me off my feet. Cupid looked at me. What do we do, Dad? I looked at Eli and Christian, who were also looking at me. I say we investigate after the wood is put into the house. But we should also hold a memorial for Browning. His ceremony awaits. Christian nodded as we walked back towards the house, but there was a blue light heading out of the woods. I was intensely curious to see what we would find. We dropped the wood off as Eli and Cupid held hands behind Christian and I, who walked towards the blue light. Help me, please! I looked at everyone and we started to run. We got to a man in a NASA suit who was literally melting from his hands and legs as we found him. I don't have much time. Find Nathan's and stop him. There isn't time. Save yourselves. Then Eli and Cupid, who were horrified at seeing the melting man. Christian was comforting them both, but I knelt down to the grassy ground. Who is Nathan's, and which universe? The man looked up at me as his face started to become glossy. Delta.1! Then he finally just melted into the ground. There was nothing of him left, and the ground just looked a bit wet. Christian helped me back up to my feet as I physically shook, which was an involuntary response. What was that, Charles? Christian looked at me as my head shook seemingly by itself. A warning. And the only one we're going to get. Get back to the house. We need to plan and do some research. We walked back to the house, and as I looked behind me, the patch of grass where the man had melted away, my body shuddered again. Creepy, isn't it? I've seen horror, Charles, but nothing like this. Ever. I nodded as we made it back to the house, and Cupid and Eli sat down as Victor hopped into Cupid's hands. Christian pulled up a computer as Charlton noticed that look on my face. What did you see, Charles? I sat down as Charlton jumped over to me from the couch. I saw a man die in front of me. He melted. It was horrid. Charlton looked at me and his whiskers twitched. Did he say anything? A name? He did. He said the name was Nathan's, from Delta.1. Charlton looked at me and his mouth was slightly ajar. Oh, God. That was the man who ended my original Earth. I looked down to Charlton to see him walk around me as I immediately started to pet him. I'm sorry, he sounds evil. If you don't mind me asking, what is he like? Charlton got this glazed look in his eyes. He's a digital demigod, half man, half machine. He wields the power of civilization in his hands. The worlds burn when he visits. Beep, beep, beep. Suddenly, the computer started to frantically beep as Christian was furiously typing on the computer. I'm getting a message, but the signal strength isn't good. Currently using all the functional satellites in orbit to make it clear. Ha ha. To be disgusted by a feat of scripture and science. Pathetic. You are truly weak-minded, and that is why you shall lose. Then the laptop short-circuited as it burst into orange flames as black smoke billowed out. Everyone looked shocked, and then they looked at me one by one. Cupid's face was one of hardened resolve. Dad, it's up to us alone, isn't it? As I don't feel like dragging more into our war. Christ. I nodded. It's up to us, but we need a miracle. Then the idea in my mind formed. Cupid, we need to find another universe who is able and willing to win this war for us and for everyone else. Eli nodded, and the plan was made. Then my attention was turned towards Christian and Charlton. You two need to stay here and help protect and upgrade Britannia. Charlton nodded as Christian came up to me and shook my hand. Safe travels, dear friend. I believe in y'all. Meow. Victor hopped up Eli's leg as Cupid and Victor spoke cat. But I didn't need a translator to see Victor was scared for his family. And Victor and Cupid bumped noses as Eli said his goodbye as well. Victor then jumped down onto the couch where Charlton groomed him. Then the three of us walked outside where the jeep was. Christian soon rushed out. What do I do with Browning? I smiled sadly as I took his hands between mine. Honor his wishes. We'll be back, and I know he's looking out for us, and he won't be mad at us. You know that as well as I. Celebrate his life while we secure ours. Christian nodded and walked back inside as Cupid and Eli were standing under the moonlight, smoking a joint. Need a hit? I nodded and chuckled as Cupid passed it over my way. You always know what I need, don't you? Cupid rolled his eyes as Eli smiled. Seriously, Charles, how are we going to pull this off? Honest. I looked at Eli. I don't know, honestly, but we have to try. There is always hope in trying. But even I'll admit the stakes are pretty fucking high this time. Both nodded as we stood in the night just smoking, wondering how we would survive.